Back for another show. 174. Back again by myself. All right. Let me see what YouTube looking like, and then I'll be back. Okay, YouTube is live. And then this show might be kind of fast because I want to get to the store before it closes. It depends on what y'all, how y'all pile up in here. Okay. Yep. Starting to freeze up today. I don't know if I should do the Twitter, just like people get a notification when they come in here. I'm gonna risk it for the biscuit. Give me a few seconds. I'm trying to see if I get some people from Twitter to come in here. I can get some people from Twitter. That'll be good. All right. All right, y'all. Let me start reading. I was trying to pull some people in here. I got to start slowing down the show. All right, this is something I wanted to read. This before I actually do the script. If Pope was putting a team together for a boxing video game, what would it look like? This would a team would look like if I was putting together a team for to make a video game, a boxing video game. Executive and vision layer. This is where direction is protected. Creative director, boxing focus. Set the philosophy. Simulation first design. authentic boxing behavior modeling, offline and online parity, long-term franchise roadmap. See, this is where it's going to always be a problem with some people because what they see as realism or realistic, they look at it as boring. But when they need to be looking at themselves, because if you ask for the right things, you can control the narrative in a game. You can control the narrative in a game. However, that match turns out is on you 100%. The same way you blame certain boxers, he's running from him, but he won't chase him or cut off the ring. That's on you. All right. This road protects realism from being watered down for trends. Let me read it again. Creative director, that's one of the people I will hire. Boxing focus. And what would his duties be? Simulation first design, authentic boxer behavior modeling, offline and online parity, long-term franchise roadmap. This role protects realism from being watered down for trends. Game director owns, this is what the game director does, owns production alignment, feature scope, milestone discipline, cross-department integration. Cross-department integration. Executive producer. What they handle budget, licensing negotiations, publisher and investor relationships, fighter contracts, boxer contracts. I hate saying fighters. Boxer contracts. Boxing games are licensing heavy. This role is critical. The executive producer. Core engineering division. This is the backbone. Without elite engineering, nothing else matters. Why do I know these things? This is one of the developers they need. A gameplay engineer team. A gameplay engineer team. Lead gameplay programmer. Combat systems. Responsible for punch physics, hurt state transitions, clinch systems, damage mapping, stamina logic, mass transfer and force modeling. 2 to 4 gameplay engineers. 2 to 4 gameplay engineers. Focus on hit detection, state machines, AI hooks, animation event syncing, designer tool integration. Why do I know these things? Research. B, AI engineering team. AI engineering team. Critical for the vision. Critical for my vision. Critical for a boxing fan vision. I want tendencies, psychology, ring IQ, adaptive logic. That requires lead AI programmer, which entails behavior trees, utility AI or hybrid AI systems, tendency weighting systems, adaptive fight memory logic, an AI engineer, AI systems engineer, which entails trainer intervention logic, corner advice modeling, momentum recognition, style versus style simulation layers. This is where boxing becomes chess instead of button mashing. This is where boxing becomes chess instead of button mashing. Why do I know these things? C. Network engineering, rollback specialist. Network engineering, rollback specialist. If online is included, senior network engineer. I would hire a senior network engineer. That job entails with rollback netcode, client-side prediction, reconciliation, desync debugging tools, region-based server testing. No excuses here. Fighting games have solved this. Boxing must too. No excuses here. Fighting games have solved this. Boxing must too. 3. Animation and biomechanics division is a part, it's a group. This cannot be generic sports animation. This cannot be generic sports animation. They need an animation director, combat specialist, animation director, combat specialist, must understand hip rotation, weight transfer, guard discipline, shoulder roll mechanics, ring cutting footwork. And I know y'all say, oh, this stuff can't be done. I'm explaining to you the people that can get this done. Stop giving excuses. Because you can't do it, don't mean that developers can't do it. We live in the age of technology. Stop giving them excuses. That's why I said, if any of the people that's watching, no disrespect to none of y'all, to the developers that watch this show, if y'all disagree with me and just disagree with me, let me know. You disagree with what I'm saying. Any of y'all could disagree and let me know. What I got wrong, let me know. Because from what I'm reading off is 100% accurate. Let me see if anybody in the chat saying anything. Salute to Mike Adams. Salute to I'm Precisely. I appreciate y'all popping in. Y'all here every day. I appreciate y'all. All right. Animation director, combat specialist must understand hip rotation, weight transfer, guard discipline, shoulder roll mechanics, ring cutting footwork. Ring cutting footwork. Do they have an animation director, a combat specialist in Steel City? I doubt it. Combat animators, 4 to 6. This whole list is, if I was making a boxing game, how would I hire the people on my team? 4 to 6 combat animators, specialized in punch variety per boxer, stagger states, realistic knockdowns, clinch entanglement, fatigue degradation animations. C. Mocap director and boxing consultant. Mocap director and boxing consultant. Bring in former boxers, trainers, strength and conditioning coaches. You need trainers more than you need boxers, because boxers can be super biased. Trainers, not so much. Strength and conditioning coaches, if the biomechanics are wrong, the whole project collapses. If the biomechanics are wrong, the whole project collapses. 4. Boxing authenticity board. non-negotiable. Boxing Authenticity Board, non-negotiable. And these are the people that I would hire if I were in charge of hiring people for a boxing game. This is what separated gang from assimilation. 2 to 3 former professional boxers, 1 veteran trainer, 1 cutman, 1 referee consultant. They review. This is what they do. They review movement, guard behavior, damage realism, corner advice authenticity, stoppage logic. This group keeps the dev team honest. Systems and simulation design. This is where my long-term ideas live. A combat system designer, damage zone mapping, critical zone heat maps, KO probability modeling, punch type first hurt state matrix. B, career mode architect, popularity systems, promoter relationships, gym chemistry, training camps, weight management, media narratives. C, economy and monetization designer, ethnical monetization, cosmetic revenue streams, licensed boxer packs, offline monetization viability. That's something I'll talk to y'all about later, because I know y'all like, oh, come on, Poe. All right. Art and presentation, a technical art lead, sweat shaders, swelling morph targets, bruise progression, skin formation. Then I will hire a UI UX designer, immersion focused, broadcast overlays, corner HUD modes, ref cam, damage feedback clarity. I've talked about immersion repeatedly, and this is where it lives. Audio division, sound director, impact layering, glove on skin, physics sound, crowd dynamic swell, corner chatter, intensity curves, Then we got B, commentary director, reactive commentary system, contest baseline, momentum recognition, historical references. 8, community and data intelligence. If I'm serious about transparency, data analyst, survey analyst, match. This is what the data analyst does. Survey analyst, match telemetry, AI behavior breakdowns, balance reports. Community system manager, community systems manager, third-party survey integration, public roadmap tracking, feedback transparency. I've emphasized accountability. This will make it real. If I had a team, I would have a third-party survey for my game. 100%. Even though I know my ideas by themselves is what the majority of the community want. I know my ideas, because my thing is I'm not only for me, I'm for the whole community. And I think like a boxer, and I think like a gamer. Studio size estimate. If built at double A scale, 35 to 55 full-time developers. Hold up, check this out, y'all. If built at double A scale, 35 to 55 full-time developers. Steel City has over 70 developers. That's not Indy. All right. If built at AAA scale, 35 to 55 full-time developers, 6 to 10 boxing consultants part-time. Outsource support for cinematics, additional mocap, localization, not AAA bloated, not indie underpowered, focused and dangerous. What makes my team different? Boxing authenticity board embedded into production. AI first combat design. Offline dev treated as revenue pillars. Transparent community analytics. Modular systems architecture for long-term expansion. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Nothing. All right. Give me a second. All right. Man. A boxing game and a fighting game are not the same genre. This I gotta bring this up, and this is a deep dive. This is a deep dive. Because people love saying it's still fighting, it's a fighting game. No, my guy, no, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. If I had a gym, I would put you right out. If you came in my gym and said, hey, could I talk to one of your fighters? Nah, get out. Get out. I might be leeway with a couple of the older guys because they hear people say it so much that they tend to say the word themselves. I'll correct them, but I still won't get as angry with them. All right. Let me get back to this. A boxing game and a fighting game are not the same genre. Even if both involve two people punching each other. Even if it involves two people punching each other. When companies blur that distinction, the sport suffers in translation. Let's break this down clearly. Genre DNA is different. Traditional fighting games. Example, Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8, Mortal Kombat 1. Core design pillars. Frame data manipulation. Combo chains and juggle systems. Special moves and meters. Character archetypes. Balance. Hate that word. Arena-based competitive loops. They are competitive systems first. They are not simulations of a real world sport. They are competitive systems first. They are not simulation of a real world sport. Even though a real world sports is competitive. Boxing games. Fight Night Champion. Undisputed. I'm using these because they're the most recent really recent boxing games that a lot of people know of. Core design pillars, real world physics modeling, footwork and ring positioning, stamina management, damage accumulation, clinch mechanics, judging criterias, 10-point systems, 10-point must systems. Referee interaction, not for Undisputed though. I'm talking about for Fight Night. Broadcast style presentation, more for fight night. A boxing game is a sports simulation, not a combo sandbox. A boxing game is a sports simulation, not a combo sandbox. The design philosophy conflicts when developers treat boxing like a traditional fighting game. This happens. Unrealistic punch spamming, no consequence for bad footwork, arcade stamina recovery, little respect for ring IQ, over-tuned damage bursts. Real boxing is about distance control, timing windows, fence and setups, conditioning, risk management. This is closer to a chess match under physical constraints that is to a juggling combo fighter. This is closer to a chess match under physical constraints than it is to a juggle combo fighter. Competitive does not equal arcade. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Nothing. All right. Competitive does not equal arcade. This is where people get confused. Games like Street Fighter 6, Tekken 8 are competitive because of system depth and precision. A boxing game can be competitive too, but its depth should come from footwork systems, punch selection logic, energy systems tied to physiology, defensive realism, slip, block, parries, tactical AI tendencies, authentic damage modeling. If you strip those out and replace them with fighting game pacing, you lose the sport. And this is something I have to address, the parrying. People keep saying parrying should never be in a boxing game. That's because you're not a boxer or you never boxed and you really don't respect what parries are. Your thing is y'all using what Fight Night Champion did. Y'all using Fight Night Champion logic for anything. If it's implemented realistically, it should be put in a game. Stop saying what happens in boxing shouldn't be in boxing. If it's not going to be in boxing, say, hey, maybe that shouldn't be online. Stop telling people what they want when it's boxing. Stop telling them the things that's in real boxing. That won't translate into a video game. Yes, it would. Yes, it would. It's just that a lot of y'all do not want to think. A lot of y'all don't want to think. A smart person, like y'all say, hey, a smart person beat Mike Tyson every time. So that means you got to think, right? Yo, y'all be saying some stuff and it don't even make sense sometimes. Why respecting the different matters? Why respecting the difference matters? Boxing has 100 plus years of recorded technique. And this is why I get upset with companies that make boxing games. Y'all don't look at it the same way I look at it. Because I collect data. I collect data. All these years that companies were making boxing games, those companies that came after them should have made a better product every time. And boxing video games has a 41-year history. But look at the game that we got from Steel City. Look at the game that we got from Steel City. Boxing has 100 plus years of recorded technique, multiple eras with different styles, licensed athletes with real world legacies, a judging system, medical consequences, coaching culture, promotional economics. No one expects Madden NFL 24 to feel like Mortal Kombat 1. No one expects Madden NFL 24 to feel like Mortal Kombat 1. The same respect must apply to boxing. What companies need to do? If a studio say they're making a boxing game, they must commit to physics first, punch systems, real stamina and fatigue modeling, authentic AI tendencies per boxer, proper judging logic, clinch and referee systems, broadcast immersion, offline depth equal to online focus, offline depth equal to online focus. Otherwise, it's not a boxing simulation. It's just a ring-themed fighting game. When companies respect the sport, the community responds. Boxing fans don't want a reskinned arena fighter. They want the tension of round 11 when both boxers are exhausted. They want the drama of a split decision. They want the consequences of bad defense. That difference matters. All right, let me see. Let me see. I'm gonna do a deeper breakdown. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Nothing. All right. Let me see what the time look like. I think I'm gonna do some quick Q&A, and I'm trying to get to the store. Yeah, go on. Yeah, give me this. I'm gonna do some quick Q&A. And then I'm gonna try to get out here to the store. I appreciate everybody that came through. I know it's gonna be a short show, but I'm trying to hold it down, Dolo. Shout out to Don D205. I forgot to shout you out in the beginning. Shout out to Don D205. You could catch him on Twitter, X, Don D205. You could catch him on Instagram, Don D205 TV. You could catch him on Twitch. Don D205. All right. Here goes some. I'm gonna do three. Depends on if anybody pop in while I'm reading. Aren't boxing games basically fighting games since two people are punching each other? I'm glad you asked that question. Not really. The similarities stop at the punches. Fighting games are designed as mechanical competition systems. They revolve around frame data, combo routing, and character balance. That's why I hate the word balance. When they say balance, they talking like fighting games. Y'all see me, I know the words. When I hear certain words and it triggers me and it bothers me, because these are the words you use in fighting games. Spam, fighting games. Balance, fighting game. Tears, fighting games. Not sports or boxing. Boxing games are simulations. They must they must represent real world rules, conditioning, judging, and long term damage. Think about it like this: a racing car simulator and an arcade racing game both involve cars, but one model's tire wear, fuel strategy, and aerodynamics. The others focus on speed and excitement. The same difference exists between boxing games and fighting games. Why do boxing games sometimes feel like arcade fighters? Why do boxing games sometimes feel like arcade fighters? Because building a full sports simulation is harder. It requires systems for fatigue modeling, damage accumulation, realistic movement physics, long-term round pacing, intelligent AI strategy. If developers skip those systems, the easiest fallback is to make combat feel closer to a fighting game. If developers skip those systems, the easiest fallback is to make combat feel closer to a fighting game. That leads to punch spam, unrealistic stamina recovery. Give me a second, y'all. Pardon me about that one. All right. Guess I got to read a couple of more now that I broke the flow. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. Lamont Davis, salute. Lamont Davis came in the house. Lamont Davis is here. Appreciate you popping in. Why do boxing games sometimes feel like arcade fighters? Because building a full sports simulation is harder. I read that, didn't I? I'm gonna read it again anyway. Why do boxing games sometimes feel like arcade fighters? Because building a full sports simulation is harder. It requires systems for fatigue modeling, damage accumulation, realistic movement physics, long-term round pacing, intelligent AI strategy. If developers skip those systems, the easiest fallback is to make combat feel closer to a fighting game. That leads to punch spam, unrealistic stamina recovery, and fights that feel like trading combos instead of managing strategy. Can a boxing game still be competitive? Yes, absolutely. But the competitive depth should come from boxing fundamentals, not arcade mechanics. Competition in a boxing game should revolve around distance management, time encounters, punch selection, energy conservation, ring control. Real boxing is strategic. And I know a lot of y'all say, well, Tyson ain't strategic. Yes, he is. 100%. 100%. He was strategic. Not like Sugar Ray Leonard type strategic, not like, all the Sugar Ray Robinson, people like that, but he was strategic. Because if he wasn't, people like Terrell Biggs and the boxers, the movers, would have picked him apart, beat the brakes off him. Y'all like Mike Tyson didn't beat tall fighters. Tyson wasn't tall. He fought a couple of guys that were 6'2", 6'3". So stop with the nonsense talking about he can't be nobody taller than him. Y'all crazy. If you want to be honest, he struggled with people shorter than him. He struggled with people shorter than him. Or about the same height. Real boxing is strategic. That strategy is where the competitive skill ceiling should exist. Question 4. I'm moved on to more. I'm gonna read the whole list. Lamont Davis came in, so I want to get let him get some time in. All right. Why is stamina so important in a boxing game? Because stamina is the governor of everything in boxing. Because stamina is the governor of everything in boxing. It affects punch speed, punch power, defensive reaction time, footwork, efficiency, ability to recover after damage. In real fights, poor stamina management can cost a boxer the entire match. If a boxing game allows unlimited punching with little consequences, the entire tactical layer of the sport disappears. Why does offline AI matter so much? That's question 5. Because more boxing matches in real life are not P versus P. Because most boxing matches in real life are not person versus person. They are two athletes executing styles, strategy, and adjustment. I know that went over your head real quick. So hold up, P versus P, that's two human beings. They are two athletes executing styles, strategies, and adjustments. A realistic AI must simulate different boxers' archetypes, tactical changes between rounds, defensive habits, aggression levels, adaption after being hurt. This is the thing, another thing I said it the other day. People think when you get hurt, you're not dangerous. It depends on the boxer. Some boxers, when they hurt, they run. Some boxers, when they hurt, they turtle up. They clam up. Some boxers, when they hurt, they clinch. Stop trying to dictate what somebody does when they hurt. It should be the boxer. You should be able to say, oh, like if they had Holyfield in the game, Holyfield should be able to take a little more punishment than the average person. That's how it should be. There should be a toughness rating. But a lot of people are going to say, no, that's not right. Why he got to be tough and my character not tough? You want a boxing game. You never complain about when you're playing a fighting game, that guy got fireballs. That guy, he could punch you from way across the screen. You never complain about that. But you're complaining about what's realistic to each boxer. what's realistic to each boxer. Everything should not be the same thing. With chess, you move strategically. You could still be strategically and still be a brawler or slugger. You still can move strategically. That goes over a lot of y'all head. That goes over a lot of y'all head. Without strong AI, the sport cannot be represented properly. All right. Why are judges and referee important in a boxing game? This is question 6. Why are judges and referees important in a boxing game? Because boxing is not just about knockouts. Many fights go to distance. A realistic boxing game should include a 10-point must scoring system as an option, because there's different scoring systems in boxing, especially when we're talking about errors, different judging tendencies, referee stoppages. There should be variables of the referees, and people should be aware of the referee they're getting. Doctors' checks for cuts. These elements create the tension and unpredictability that exists in real fights. Why do boxing fans care about realism so much? Question 7. Why do boxing fans care about realism so much? Because boxing is a sport built on technical mastery. Fans know the difference between a pressure boxer and a counter puncher, an outside puncher, a defensive specialist. If every boxer in a game behaves the same way, the sport loses its identity. Realism preserves style diversity. Question 8. Is it possible to build a fully realistic boxing game? Yes. 100%. Modern game engines like Unreal Engine and Unity already support advanced physics, animation systems, and AI behavior framework. And I know y'all say, well, they had it on Unity. That's on, and I hate to say it, and I know you probably watched the show. I hate to say it, that's on Aimbot. That's on Aimbot. That he couldn't make Unity work. That's on Aimbot. Love C Shorty is doing better things. It's just that the graphics don't match up to what they got. I'm pretty sure if Love C Shorty has the same graphics and everything, his game would be a hit. It would be incredible. Fans will be raving about it. That's where he probably falls short to a lot of people. Modern game engines like Unreal Engine and Unity already support advanced physics, animation systems, and AI behavior frameworks. The technology is not the limitation. Still City trying to make it seem like that. The real challenge is design, commitment, and development resources. Studios have to prioritize the sport itself, not just the spectacle. Question 9. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat. No, okay. Why do some players want boxing games to behave more like fighting games? Usually for 2 reasons. First, fighting games are easier to learn competitively because the systems are consistent and high-tuned. Second, some players prefer faster-paced combat where stamina and realism don't slow things down. That approach can work for arcade titles. But if the goal is a realistic boxing simulation, the sport's constraints must remain intact. The sports constraints must remain intact. What is the biggest mistake studios make when developing boxing games? Treating boxing as just the punch mechanics. Treating boxing as just punching mechanics. Boxing is actually a layered system involving footwork, geometry, energy management, damage modeling, tactical decision making, ring awareness, psychological pressure. When those layers interact correctly, the sport emerges naturally. When they don't, the game feels shallow. I think I'm gonna do a couple more. Do a couple of more. Yeah, I'm gonna do a couple of more questions, and then I'm gonna leave. If I read any question that sound like a question I answered yesterday or the day before yesterday, that's where I'm gonna stop at. I'm not keep answering the same questions over and over again. If boxing games focus on realism, won't that make them slower and less exciting? Not necessarily. Real boxing can be extremely exciting because of tension and consequences. When stamina matters, every punch has weight. When damage accumulates, every mistake matters. The excitement comes from risk. In arcade combat systems, players can often go dozens of punches without meaningful penalty. In realistic boxing, a single mistake can change the entire fight. That tension is what creates drama. Why is footwork one of the hardest things to simulate? Footwork is the foundation of boxing. Every punch, defense, and angle starts with movement. To simulate it properly, a boxing game must represent weight transfer, balance shifts, acceleration and deceleration, pivoted mechanics, ring positioning, and footwork feel unrealistic. Everything else in the fight starts to feel wrong. Punch timing becomes inaccurate. Defense becomes unreliable. Distance control disappears. That's why movement systems are often the most technically demanding part of a boxing game. Question 13. Should every boxer feel different in a boxing game? Yes. Yes. 100%. Style diversity is essential to the sport. For example, an outside boxer might rely on range, jab, and lateral movement. A pressure boxer might close distance, throw combinations, and attack the body. A counter puncher might wait for mistakes to punish openings. If every boxer shares the same rhythm and behavior, the sport loses its authenticity. This is why attributes, traits, and tendencies must interact to create unique styles. And y'all get upset with me because I keep saying traits gotta be way more. What Steel City guys should be way more than that. Attributes way more than that. Tendencies should exist with sliders. Tendencies should exist with sliders. To the casual fan, it don't make sense to them. It's not going to make sense to them. Why is punch variety important? Excuse me. Why is punch variety important? Because boxing is not just about throwing punches. It's about when and why you throw them. A complete boxing game must represent jabs for distance control, hooks for inside fighting, uppercuts for close range openings, body punches for long-term stamina damage, counters for defensive punishment. Different punches serve different tactical purposes. If punches only exist as damage buttons, the sport becomes simplified. Why do some boxing games struggle with realism even when they try? Because boxing simulations require many interconnected systems. For example, stamina affects punch speed. Punch speed affects timing windows. Timing windows affect defensive reactions. Defensive reactions affect damage taken. If any one system is poorly implemented, the entire experience can feel off. Realistic sports simulations rely heavy on systems interaction, not just individual mechanics. What role does rig geography play? What role I read that all wrong. What role does ring geography play? The ring itself is part of the strategy. Y'all don't know that. The ring itself is part of the strategy. Boxers use it to cut off movement, escape pressure, set traps near the ropes, control the center. A boxing game must allow players to understand where they are positioning at all times. Ring awareness is a core part of ring generalship. If positioning does not matter, the tactical depth disappears. And that's why when I hear people say, oh, he was running, man, that's on you. You didn't stop him. You didn't ask for something so you can stop him. That means something is off with the game, and y'all not talking about it. Why is long-term damage modeling important? Because boxing is an endurance sport. Damage accumulation over time damage accumulation over time, examples include body damage reducing stamina, head trauma affecting recovery speed, cuts influencing referee decision, swelling reducing defensive visibility. A realistic damage model tells the story of the fight. Early rounds affect later rounds. The progression is one of the most important aspects of boxing drama. I'm gonna read this last one. Why do fans want strong career modes in boxing games? Because boxing is deeply tied to career narratives. Fans care about climbing rankings, rivalries, championships, title defenses, legacy records. A career mode allows players to experience the journey of a boxer. Without the progression, the sport can feel disconnected from its real world storytelling. Let me see. Yeah, I'm gonna end it right there. I hit the 1 hour mark. Salute to Lamont Davis for coming through. Salute to I'm Precisely _1. Shout out to Mike Adam 7904. Shout out to Leafy, Pound for Pound Boxing. Shout out to AJ Pax. Where are you at, AJ? Shout out to Don D205. Shout out to S. He Hot. Yo, where you at, man? I ain't seen you in a while. S. V. He Hot. Where you at? Shout out to Remy. Shout out to Ichiro. Shout out to who's I'm forgetting people. But shout out to everybody that watched this show, and I appreciate y'all. Shout out to the developers and the people in the industry that watch this show. I appreciate y'all. I really do. Let me see, all right. So until the next show, peace. I'm off to the store.